In every single way imaginable, Donald Trump is weakness masquerading as strength. He likes to project himself out as the big macho tough guy, but he is anything but that. He bends the knee to dictators. He fails to deliver on trade agreements that he tries to get through intimidation that just doesn't work because no one takes him seriously. But now is a moment to take his attacks on our democracy very seriously, and that is what protesters across the country are doing right now to a weak president hiding away. We are going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into the protest erupting across the country, including right outside the White House, I want to start with one of the reasons for those protests, the takeover that Donald Trump is attempting to do in D.C. that Jack Cocchiarella called out right here.
Members of the National Guard walking on the mall and around Georgetown guarding Sephora. And then that's an absurd use of tax dollars. You could also say, hey, Republicans, you took $1 billion from the D.C. budget, money that was going to go to police salaries and school programs, because we know also kids don't commit crimes if they're actually in school. That's a good thing. So that's a solution. Give us back our money. I also think Muriel Bowser has been very conciliatory with Donald Trump. She doesn't want to be on his bad side. She immediately took up Black Lives Matter Plaza when he came back into office. Why didn't he say, I'm thinking about doing this, Mayor Bowser, how can we work together? We have the same goals and the same aims. Do it with the police chief as well and try to figure that out.
Bowser is in Martha's Vineyard right now.
For one day on a personal family matter. I don't know what's going. She's not going to be found at a party on the beach. If you are about to do that, don't do that, because I just said that you're not going to. What is also the most important aspect of this is that taking over the D.C. police, like what he did in Los Angeles as well, is part of this massive consolidation of power that Donald Trump has been undertaking. So when you call an emergency for everything, and he even said today, remember, it is an emergency. It is not. He said at first, I have 30 days. And then he said, well, I can make it a national emergency, and then it would be forever. I could do it. I don't know if I will, how he plays around with that. What he's doing with redistricting mid-cycle, how he's going after universities and law firms, how he's firing people who give him information that he doesn't want, like the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
All legal.
And he puts in a guy who goes to January 6th who's going to do what he wants, and maybe we won't have a job report.
What is your alternative?
Donald Trump doesn't care about stopping crime. He's a felon. Donald Trump doesn't care about protecting people. He's a narcissist. Donald Trump cares about Donald Trump. He wants to pretend that he's strong. He wants to pretend that he is effective. That is what's happening in Washington right now. We have seen crime plummet in D.C., and Donald Trump is now taking, billions out of the budget to stop that effort from happening, to stop the success of this local administration. That's what Donald Trump is doing right now, and it's why people are fighting back against him, because his masked thugs are on the street creating problems, not solving them. We saw today masked ICE agents say that liberals are destroying this country as they arrested someone without cause. If that's not authoritarianism, I don't know what is. And it's not the only example. Before we get into the protest happening across the country, I want to start with a speech of one of the reasons why from Greg Kazar.
Trump doesn't have a plan to win the election. He has a plan to rig the election. Are we going to let him? No. They're doing what they always try to do. From Bull Connor to George Wallace, they want to silence the voices of working Texans and Texans of color. With this redistricting plan, they're going to move 10 million people from district to district for no good reason. And 2/3 of them are people of color. We know their game. We know their game. Trump and Abbott want that to happen quietly. Are we going to let that happen? If Trump and Abbott had their way, they would have passed these maps weeks ago. Are we going to let that happen? No. Trump and Abbott want you to feel powerless. They didn't want a quorum break. They wanted to get away with this. But thanks to your fight, thanks to our fight here in Texas and our leaders' fight, now we've got people in California fighting back, saying,
Donald Trump knows how unpopular every action he is taking is right now. And so he is trying to rig the midterms so we cannot tell him that he has failed, that we cannot say that we will not stand for this tyranny. And it's not going to work, because every action Donald Trump takes, even this gerrymandering effort, only makes him more unpopular. On top of that, we got fighters in Texas, we got fighters in California, and Governor Newsom making sure that Donald Trump and Greg Abbott will be stopped in their tracks, or at least fighting back to stop what they have done. But that is why we are seeing so many people get out in the streets, protest Donald Trump, and I want to check out 2 clips of exactly that happening in Chicago and in D.C.
Hey everybody, Trey Martinez-Fisher here in Chicago at the Stop the Trump rally. The nation is waking up. We are pushing back. This is why democracy matters. Here with my good friend, Representative James Tallarico. James, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we are just so inspired to see this kind of support for our movement. This is not going to be won by just 51 Texas House Democrats. This is going to be won by everyone in this country standing up to this broken political system. And hopefully, after we stop this power grab, passing a national ban on gerrymandering to end this kind of corruption once and for all.
So you heard the man. It's not about Texas. It's about our country. Let's come together, America. Let's take back this democracy.
We have breaking news right now. This anti-Trump demonstration in Washington, D.C. is now spanning thousands of people, maybe about a mile long, has shut down the streets of Washington, D.C., near the White House, near the Washington Monument. This is significant. This is one of the largest demonstrations against Donald Trump's takeover of Washington, D.C., of the Metropolitan Police Department. It is a completely safe demonstration, and we are here on the ground. People are getting hydrated. People are marching. They're marching across the White House to the National Mall. Right now, like I said, no National Guard presence. Very little police presence, truth be told, but it is a safe protest. They are making their voices heard. I mean, look, I'm standing here, and you have hundreds, overall thousands of people marching down the streets of Washington, D.C. This is happening, and it's happening right now, so spread the word so more people know, and follow along for all the news you need to know about. More to come soon.
This is exactly what we need right now. We need people showing up. We need people making noise. We need people bringing attention to the authoritarian crisis we are seeing right now. An election is being stolen before our very eyes, not just because Donald Trump is trying to rig the midterms, not just because he's trying to gerrymander 20, 30 more seats for Republicans to try to stop the blue wave that's coming in a couple of months. No. Donald Trump is also implementing the troops on the ground, the thugs, the goons of his, who will go into Detroit, into Milwaukee, into Atlanta, into Philadelphia, and rip ballot boxes out of polling locations. That will go intimidate people standing in line. If you're having a bottle of water in Georgia, what's to stop them from saying, did someone give that to you? It's against the law. We're taking you with us. And is anyone going to want to vote in those conditions? No, it's classic authoritarianism. This is not a conspiracy. We're not being crazy. We can see what is happening right now and why it's so important that we fight and that we have our leaders standing up and actually engaging in that. We saw a little bit of that from Barack Obama right here.
As what we all recognize is we can't let a systematic assault on democracy just happen and stand by. And so because of your actions, because of your courage, what you've seen is California responding, other states looking at what they can do to offset this mid-decade gerrymandering that is highly irregular and is not what we should be doing to balance out the maps for this upcoming election. And I think we became a little bit complacent over the years. We assumed that things would continue to get better, that our democracy would become more inclusive, that it would become more fair, that we'd make it easier for people to vote rather than harder for people to vote, that the votes would be counted rather than suppressed. And what we forgot is that history doesn't always move in a straight line, and it's not always 2 steps forward and another 2 steps forward. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward and a step back. And we're in a moment right now where not just gerrymandering, but efforts at voter suppression, efforts at questioning the results of elections, efforts at the executive branch unilaterally doing things that bypass Congress and the people's representatives, militarization of cities, politicization of our justice departments and our military. Those are trend lines that remind us that this precious democracy that we've got is not a given. It's not self-executing. It requires us to fight for it. It requires us to stand up for it.
We got to work to protect this democracy. It doesn't just continue to exist. We actually have to be active participants, not just in keeping it, but fighting for it and fighting against those who want to take it away from us, which is Donald Trump, Greg Abbott, any other Republican engaging in this gerrymandering effort, which is why Gavin Newsom has taken up the mantle of fighting back, and I spoke to him about that right here.
How far are you willing to go to stop Trump from stealing the midterms?
What's so interesting about how blue that is, that was done by an independent redistricting commission. That's the difference. We tried to play by a higher value system. It's about formal authority. It's also about moral authority. We tried to do both and.
Yeah.
I've long supported independent redistricting. I can't stand these gerrymander districts. I can't stand the fact that we're trying to find, it's, everything about gerrymandering needs to be addressed nationally.
Yep.
And I now realize that as a promoter to do it at the state level, I thought other states would follow suit because it was the right thing to do. They didn't.
No.
And so we've unilaterally disarmed. Democrats can't just sit there and act holier than thou and watch this democracy completely be degraded, watch the rule of law degraded, watch a system of co-equal branches of government completely devastated and rolled back in real time by Trump and Trumpism. So we're going to stand up. That district, likely this state, the blue, will get even darker blue. As we respond to Abbott, we respond to Donald Trump, and we assert ourselves much more aggressively. And that, your prior question, the prior question of that, and this damn question, Democrats need to stop the bullshit. It's a different day.
This is what we need from our elected leaders. This is the moment. It's put up or shut up. I don't want to see you at a press conference or writing a strongly worded letter unless you're actually taking action, unless you're making something happen. Do not come to me asking for support if you won't support us. Get your job done. Good on Gavin. We're going to keep talking about it on this show, and if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.